Roe versus Wade, the landmark 1973 Supreme Court case guaranteeing abortion rights, appears to be on the verge of being overturned. Chief Justice John Roberts has confirmed that a draft opinion leaked to Politico is real. In it, the court's conservative majority appears set to change course, meaning abortion would be decided on a state-by-state basis. Joining us now, San Jose State adjunct professor Donna Crane. She previously served as one of the nation's top experts on reproductive rights. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, first, as we mentioned, this is a draft opinion, and it's possible the justices could change their votes before a decision is handed down. Does that seem like a possibility at this point?
It is a possibility. It has happened before, and it has happened before around abortion rights cases. Famously, in the late 1980s, Justice Kennedy actually changed his position and preserved Roe v. Wade for another generation of women. But I do think it's very, very unlikely in this case. The way these opinions work is that after the justices hear oral arguments, they meet privately, they have a conversation, it's called conference. They take kind of a straw poll to determine where the votes fall, and then the opinion is assigned out. And the fact that the opinion was assigned to Justice Alito tells us that there is a clear majority on the court for rolling back Roe v. Wade, reversing that precedent.
And Senate Democrats are already calling to codify Roe v. Wade. What other actions can we expect from Democrats and from here in California?
I would expect to see a flurry of activity from pro-choice politicians at all levels of government. So I would expect to see action in Congress. Governor Newsom has already talked about amending the California Constitution. We may see some state legislative action as well. But this is very, very important, what I'm about to say. Most people think that blue states, pro-choice states, will be protected, that if Roe v. Wade is reversed, that the question just returns to the states. That is not true. It does return to the states in some ways. Red states, anti-abortion states, probably will immediately make abortion illegal. But blue states are not immune from this. Congress can pass any law it wants, and that applies nationwide. So it doesn't matter, to some extent, how many protections California builds in for women's reproductive freedom, as long as Congress wants to pass restrictive laws, and there are many, many queued up to be passed. Or, in fact, the Supreme Court could approve additional restrictions on reproductive rights after this decision. Women in blue states will be just as impacted as women in Alabama.
And Chief Justice John Roberts is calling for an investigation into the leak to track down the source. How does the Supreme Court recover from something like this?
It's a great question. You know, this is, I think, another blow to a court that has really been pummeled, I would argue, I think many historians would agree, since the 2000 decision in Bush v. Gore. The court is now seen as just as political a body as the other major players in our political landscape, and it had before then really been above that. So I think it's seen as political. I think it's seen as outcomes driven. Just within the last few weeks, Justice Thomas's wife, Ginny Thomas, was revealed to have been on the inside of the January 6th insurrection. Now there's this leak. It's yet one more, I think, big political institution, and with a set of norms that has fallen in recent years. Yeah,
a lot going on for sure. And how would you say all of this could impact this year's midterm elections?
Oh, I think it's an absolute cataclysm. So I think it will energize the activists on both sides of this issue, both the anti-abortion, anti-choice, and the pro-choice abortion rights sides. Conventional wisdom and my own experience inside this issue is that it tends to energize the pro-choice side more, and heaven knows Joe Biden could use that. His ratings have been on the steady decline. But it is worth saying that I'm just not sure how much lawmakers can do at this point. If the Supreme Court, which is the law of the land, has 6 or 5 votes to overturn Roe, there's just not that much lawmakers can do except elect more senators and put different justices on the bench.
And this brings up so many questions right now. What could this mean for other rights like same-sex marriage?
This is a critical point as well. The decision, if this is akin to what the final decision looks like, the decision to roll back Roe v. Wade, since Roe is really grounded in the right to privacy, well, that right to privacy in the Constitution also ensures that we have the right to marry the partner of our choice, to have access to contraception, to not be jailed for same-sex relationships, to parent children the way we see fit, right? The right to privacy is wide-ranging and profound, and a case that overturns Roe v. Wade isn't just chipping away at the right to privacy, it's fully dismantling it.
We appreciate your take on all of this. Donna Crane with San Jose State, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.